Tressa. I hope you're doing well today. Hope you had a great Happy New Year. And today it's a little chilly, so I want to bake something. It's a cake, and it's a vanilla cake, and it's the best vanilla cake I've ever found. It is so good. And it's a butter and cream cheese frosting, but it's a few ingredients. It's not difficult. I really found this recipe from Cooking with Carolyn on YouTube. She's a great cook. And I've altered it a little. She uses egg whites. I like to use the whole egg. So I'll show you as we go the ingredients, and then we'll start mixing. I wanted to show you the very first thing that I do is preheat my oven to 350, and I don't use convection. I just used regular. And I greased and floured my pans, 2 9-inch pans, and I also put a piece of parchment, and then I sprayed Baker's Joy on top. And then I'm going to measure up the flour. And the way I measure flour is I fluff, and then I scoop, and then I level it off with a knife. You also want all your ingredients at room temperature. It's very important. The first thing I'm going to do is make the frosting. My daughter has an appointment, so I'm going to have to bake the cakes when I get back. Otherwise, I'd have to leave them in the oven, and you can't do that. So I'm going to make the frosting and then set that aside. So what we have here, it's I cut the icing recipe that she has in half because I just can't use that much. So this is 4 cups of powdered sugar. I'm going to sift it. I might not need the whole amount, but I'm just going to go ahead and sift this because, you know, powdered sugar or icing sugar is often full of lumps. And I always get it everywhere. And then we're going to need, I'm going to use 1 cup of butter and 2 8-ounce bricks of cream cheese, a little salt, a little vanilla, and if I feel like it needs it, I might put a little heavy cream if I feel like it's too heavy. The heavy cream will lighten it up tremendously. I really love to use heavy cream in my cream cheese frosting. So let me sift this and clean up my mess, and then we'll start by creaming the butter and the cream cheese together. I'm going to light it and fluffy. I might whip it for 3 to 4 minutes. And my butter is probably about 67 degrees. It's pretty cool here, so it's not super soft, which I do like. So I'm going to use the paddle attachment. I guess I could use the whisk. And I'm not, every time that I try to do a video, I can't get my attachments on. So let me cream this, and I'll show you. As you can see, it's pretty, oops, sorry about that, nice and creamy. And I'm going to scrape down my bowl a little bit. And it says 2 to 3 teaspoons of vanilla. And you know how I love vanilla. And it's almost getting too expensive, the vanilla bean paste. So I'm going to add probably 3 teaspoons. And I'm going to mix this in, and then we're going to gradually add the powdered sugar until it's the consistency we want. It makes a difference if your butter's not, you know, like really soft and mushy. It kind of gets oily. I like it to be this temperature, but in the summertime, it's kind of hard to keep it that temperature. But in the winter, it goes better, I find. But this cake is really, really good. There's no fancy ingredients. It's just, I like to add the egg yolks because I like the richness it gives. And I don't care if my cake's not completely white, even, you know, even though it's supposed to be vanilla. And I sifted this confectioner sugar. See how light and fluffy it is? So I'm going to start with about 2 cups. And then mix this slowly so you don't have powdered sugar go everywhere. And then I'll bring it back nicely. It's light and fluffy. And I think I need a little bit more powdered sugar. It's a little on the soft side. So let's add a little bit more. And I said 2 cups a while ago. It was probably a little less than 2 cups. So I'm going to add, because I only have 4 cups in here. I don't measure confectioner sugar exactly like I do flour, but it's close. It's close. You just have to go by the way you like your icing consistency. I can't talk today. I apologize. So we'll mix this in and then we'll see where we are. Pretty good. I like to turn it on about 7 or 8 and let it really absorb the confectioner sugar. It's looking really nice. I don't know if you can see the consistency. If I hold it up to the camera, see it's pretty thick. It's not falling off the spatula. So I want it to have a good body. So let's give it a little taste and see how sweet it is. I also add a pinch of salt. Oh, there's nothing better than this kind of frosting. So I think I'm going to add just a little bit more. If I can get it out of this bowl. I'm probably going to make a mess. That's good. And it does make a difference sifting it. Sometimes I'm lazy and I don't, but I can definitely tell a difference today. It's lighter and airier. So let's mix this. Turn it up. Whip it up good. Now that looks pretty good. That's pretty much what I'm going for. And I think I'm not going to add any heavy cream because I think it came out just like I like. So I'm going to set this to the side while we bake the cakes. Okay, here's my frosting. And my daughter tasted it and she said it's not overly sweet. So you could, if you want to make the cake later, you could refrigerate this and then let it come to room temperature before you frost the cakes. You can freeze this frosting because I may have more than I need, but it freezes really, really well. But since it's a cool day, I'm just going to leave it out until I'm planning on baking the cakes in a few minutes after my daughter's orthodontist appointment, which won't take but about 10 minutes. So let me clean up this mess and then we'll make the cake. I'm so excited. Mixing the cake. My oven's preheated to 350. So we're going to go ahead and start with the dry ingredients. And they're very simple. It's 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and we're going to sift it. So I'm going to put it in this bowl inside the sifter. So it's just 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And then we need 3 teaspoons of baking powder. And I'm only putting a half teaspoon of salt because my butter is salted. And I'm going to sift this. And my salt, I just always have to pour in. And then I'm going to mix it again. So it's pretty simple. So now I'm going to move you over and we're going to go to the mixer and start creaming our butter and our sugar. Start creaming our butter and our sugar. I have 1 cup of butter and 2 cups of sugar. And we're going to cream these. I'm going to get them nice and fluffy. We'll see. It probably could take 3 to 5 minutes. But I'll cream this in a little while because my butter was kind of cool because outside it's pretty cold. So we're going to go ahead and add our eggs. I have 3 egg whites and 3 whole eggs in their room temperature. So I'm just going to add a couple at a time. Mix those in. Oops, that was more than I wanted. Let me turn it up again. Mix that in well. And add the last one. Turn it up. I want it nice and creamy. Okay, I'm going to scrape my bowl again. Make sure you scrape the bottom. The my KitchenAid mixer does pretty well. I don't usually get stuff stuck at the bottom. I guess it's the attachments are in just right. So now we're going to add our vanilla extract, and we're going to add at least 2 teaspoons. This one, it's hard to get all that paste out, and that is probably enough, but I'm just going to add just a pinch more. Not much, just a pinch. So that's about 2.5 teaspoons. There we go. And I love the vanilla bean paste, the way you can see it through the batter. So I'm going to mix that in. Now we're going to put in our sour cream, and this is 3/4 of a cup of sour cream. And it's at room temperature as well. Well, it's as warm as I could get it. So let me mix this in, and then we're going to alternate half and half, and that will be 3/4 of a cup of half and half with the 2 cups of flour. Alternating the flour and the half and half. And if you don't have half and half, you can mix milk and heavy cream, and that gives you half and half. And I'm not very accurate with this. I just kind of dump it in there. And then I'm going to put a little half and half in. And mix this. So let me finish mixing this, and then I'll show you what it looks like. It's nice and creamy. I'm going to finish mixing it with the spatula because there's a little flour stuck on my paddle. And let me move the camera. Divide the batter into, you could use 3 9-inch pans if you wanted to. I like thick layers. So I did another mix with the spatula. And now I'm just going to eyeball the cake in the pan. And sometimes I'm even and sometimes I'm not. But that's okay. It's just for home, so it doesn't have to be perfect. But the recipe actually says it's about 3 cups of batter in each pan. It's pretty thick batter. And you're going to bake it about 35 to 40 minutes. I'll let you know how long it took in my oven. Let's see, I think that's about it. Just kind of spread it out the best you can. Actually, these, I don't know how thick these are going to be. I haven't baked this cake in a while, so I really don't remember. I just remember how good it is. And I don't have a vanilla cake on my channel, so I really wanted to share it. So I just spread it as best I can. And try to get it off the edges. And then I just tap it on the counter. It looks like I might be, I think I'm pretty even, close enough. So I'm gonna put it in the oven and we'll see what they look like when they come out. Tell you about cakes out of the oven. They actually baked for 45 minutes. And they're just a little bit golden on top. I'm gonna put them on the cooling rack for about 10 to 15 minutes. And then what I do is, well, I'll put the pans on top, but I spray I always have a fear of my cake sticking to the cooling rack. So sometimes I don't even take them out of the pans, but you're supposed to. So I'm going to let them cool for about 15 minutes. And then I sprayed my cooling rack with some cooking spray. And then I'll flip them out and hopefully they won't stick. But I like them pretty moist. But see how they just kind of spring back and they start to come away from the edge of the pan just a little bit. But like I said, I baked them for 45 minutes. And they're pretty thick. Like you could bake them in 3 pans, but I like to do 2 layers because I can barely handle that many. So I'll be back once they cool off. I just wanted to show you after 15 minutes I flipped them out and I had success. They came out perfectly. So now we're going to let them cool completely. And my cakes have cooled completely. So now I'm going to start frosting them. And by the way, I am not a cake decorator. I really suck at it. But I thought I would just try a little bit of piping just at the top, just for fun. And I put this here. I don't know why, I just did. So I'm going to lay the first layer down. And you could put parchment paper around here. You do strips so you won't get it on your cake stand, but that's okay. I'm not that worried about it. Like I said, it's just for home. And this is just for fun. So I'm going to take my frosting and put some in the middle. And you can see the vanilla bean running through it. It's really pretty. And I'm going to use this. Oh, and the cake board's sliding a little bit. And you can put as much as you want. And I like to put it to the edges. If you want just a thin layer, thick layer. And you could store this cake in the refrigerator. Also, because it's cream cheese and butter, but you'll want to take it out a couple hours before you want to serve it for it to get right to room temperature. Otherwise, it'll be too cold. So that looks good. Pretty straight. So I'm going to take this one and try not to break it. And just set this one on top. And I like to use my spatula to get a big majority of it on. So I'm sure you don't want to see me try to cover the whole cake. So I'll get part of it covered and then I'll bring you back. Show you. I don't know if you could see well, but I like to just come to the edge. And I don't like a thick layer on the side. I almost like it naked, but not all completely, because I don't want it to drip down to the bottom. And if I go slow like this, I usually don't make a mess on the bottom. So I just wanted to show you that. Okay, we colored just a portion of the icing. We tried to make it pink, but it looks like it's a little red. And my daughter helped me smooth it out, and you can see it looks pretty nice for a home-baked cake. And we're going to just pipe little rosettes, and you could put it in the refrigerator to create the crumb coat if you want, but I'm not going to go to all that trouble because, like I said, this is just for fun. We like to practice and have fun baking. We don't do it often, but we try every once in a while. So she's just going to go around and make little rosettes, and I may put some sprinkles. So stay tuned. This is the finished product. My daughter actually did the piping, and she doesn't even know how to pipe, but she did an awesome job. I'm so excited. We're gonna clean up our mess, and then we're gonna cut it and give you a taste test. That's the most important part. I bet you could thumbnail like this. Okay, this is the cake. I probably should have put it in the fridge for just a little while to firm up the icing. But this is how moist it is. And this is...
It's like a Twinkie.
Besides chocolate cake, this is my next favorite cake. And I know everybody's on a diet right now, but I didn't have a vanilla cake on my channel, so I just had to make one, because this is the best one. It's so moist. And it's just so moist. It doesn't even really have to have a frosting. But the butter and the cream cheese and the powdered sugar, there's not a lot of powdered sugar, so it's not overly sweet. And you can really taste the vanilla coming through. It's really good. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, please subscribe and enjoy my recipe. Thanks for watching.